This is a very specific word for someone, okay? So the enemy is using every tactic in this season. He's going to use a lot of people, but he's also going to try to make you think that what looks good on the outside is exactly where you're supposed to be. So let me give you an example of how the enemy is going to try to trick you onto the wrong path, okay? This is an example. Let's just say that you're going to move the state. You're going to go from one state to another state. And the Lord told you, I want you to move to Florida, okay? And let's just say now that you're looking all over the US for a place to go, and you decide, you know what, I think I want to go to California. And then you're like, no, but God told me to go to Florida, right? And there was a specific house that you saw in California that you really like. You really like, but you're like, I can't afford that. It's too expensive. You start looking at places in Florida, and you see a couple that you like, okay? Now, let's just say, now you know that God told you to go to Florida. You know with no doubt, right? But you keep going back to look at California because that's somewhere that you've always wanted to go. But God is instructing you to go elsewhere. So you go back to check California again. And the house that you're originally looking at in California, let's just say the price drops. And you're like, wow, this is the house I wanted, and the price just dropped. And then because the price dropped, you start questioning if you heard God correctly. Even though you know you heard him, even though you know you heard him say go to Florida. The reason why you're starting to question him now is because you're like, wait, the price dropping in California, that may also be a sign from God. That may also be a blessing. God dropped the price for me. You may be thinking that, right? Not realizing that that was the enemy. So now let's just say that you went back into prayer and you prayed to God. And God told you, again, Florida. Now you know that the house you wanted in California, where the price dropped, that was the enemy's work in order to trick you into thinking that that was the blessing and that you should go there instead. Like in Numbers 20, how God told Moses what to do, and Moses struck the rock twice, and he was disobedient, right? And the water came and the overflow came. That water that was coming out, it could have looked like a blessing in that moment because he struck the rock. That wasn't even worth not being able to enter the promised land. You see, that was not worth not being able to enter the promised land, right? So the point of me telling you this is for someone specific. God is giving you instructions and telling you what to do. And the enemy is going to try to bring in a counterfeit blessing to make it seem like that's what you need. And you're going to know because it's going to be something that you desire and want, but God is telling you to do something else, right? Right when you're about to take steps towards what God actually told you, you're going to notice that that specific desire that you wanted is popping up now, right? But that desire that you wanted that's popping up, it's a trick. It's a trap that's set from the enemy to get you to be disobedient to God. See, like I said, when Moses struck the rock twice, the water seemed like a blessing in that moment because everybody was thirsty, but it wasn't worth not being able to enter the promised land. Had he been obedient, he would have got the water and still entered the promised land. But it's because of disobedience why he missed out on that blessing. So I'm here to give you this example analogy because God said for some of you guys, there's going to be a counterfeit blessing that's going to look like amazing. It's going to look good. But what God has for you is better. But you may be so tempted to run towards that because it may feel like the perfect moment, perfect opportunity. But you have to remember what God originally told you to do. Okay? I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.